Heather Redfern, the Executive Director at The Cultch, and along with Corey Payette, the co-curator of TRANSFORM Cabaret Festival. The artists that you're about to hear from participated in 2 or 3 of the previous TRANSFORM Cabaret Festivals.
It has been a real joy to envision this festival with my co-curator, Heather Redfern. It really started from a place of wanting to encourage the collaboration between Indigenous and non-Indigenous artists to create new works that we've never seen before, that could be anything that they imagined them to be. So that included circus, that included music, dance, theater. It was all of those aspects together to try to envision a way forward. And the way forward is together.
My name is Hulemia Sparrow. I'm the protocol keeper for the TRANSFORM Cabaret Festival. It's been a phenomenal few years being part of this fantastic festival. A huge part of our protocol is how we connect and relate to other Indigenous nations. And to be able to layer that, or weave, I could say, because I'm a Musqueam person, we're weavers, to be able to weave that way of doing things into a festival environment where we're welcoming in international folk, where we're holding space and hosting. We want to be able to bring those values that we have as Musqueam people of hosting like we do in the Longhouse and acknowledging folks that are visiting the land.
It was both amazing and almost terrifying at the same time, because it was actually at a meeting that we had over Zoom with Heather and Corey and the team about whether to do TRANSFORM, in particular the Bash, in 2020. And I think that moment, we had lots of discussions, but the moment where we all sort of looked at each other and went, okay, yeah, let's do this. Let's see what we can do. And I think, in such crazy times, I think just having that hope for still the creation of art was, it was a great moment. Also, my other favorite moment was when we took a cast photo at the end of the first Bash, and it was with the crowd behind us. And I don't know, it's just that photo, every time I look at it, it just sums up the amount of joy that was had during that time.
Well, the first year, I just remember being so excited to be with that many Indigenous people on a bill. I've done a lot of shows, a lot of drag shows, a lot of theater shows. I'm usually one of maybe 2, max 3 ever in my life being on the same poster as somebody. So it was really nice to see so many Indigenous people running around the green room together, and just all from a lot of different facets of art too that don't often come together. It takes a whole festival to show that type of diversity.
I think that the TRANSFORM cabarets have done wonders to bring people together. People I would never have had the chance to work with in any other situation. I think it's amazing because we've collaborated in such interesting ways with so many different people to make art that I don't know you could make anywhere else. There's no other platform that does this. This is its own thing.
It was very interesting for me to be a part of a festival where the collaborations were held in an Indigenous-led space. Previously, I had been in festivals where Indigenous artists are included, but you can tell the second that it's in a space that is truly about the stewards of the land that we live on, that it immediately opens up new and more honest possibility when you're looking at collaboration. And that was certainly something that I hadn't experienced before.
I think what TRANSFORM really did beautifully is it showed us a roadmap of what Indigenous and non-Indigenous collaboration might look like moving forward. And so my hope is that this is the beginning of that work and not an endpoint, as so often things end up being.
Absolutely, it moved things forward. What I loved about the festival, not only the phenomenal performances and all sorts of different folks who are able to perform, like internationally and locally, the fact that there was space where you could interact and mingle and get to know each other and ask questions, and it was a space where we could celebrate Indigenous work, but we could also, talk with non-Indigenous folk and connect in a really cool space.
especially coming as a First Nations woman coming into and onto First Nations land that isn't mine. Meeting the artists from those places has been incredible. I think each step of the way, each decision we make to create more space for underrepresented voices, the better.
We need more opportunity to allow us to work together so that we can see the possibilities of like how we can share our stories and our voices, and so that other people feel seen on their screen or on stage. I think that's a really big thing, especially for the young people. Whoever you are and how you've come to this plane is enough. And that's what our art does, is let people know that they are enough.
I just found it very interesting to see Transform the first year in person, and then during the pandemic, how it like was all live streamed. I think my favorite part about that was just seeing people's work on the big screen. It's so different, and it was just like, I don't know, it was so beautiful to just like watch everyone's work on the big screen compared to in live. My favorite memory is I think I was DJing, and then my brother showed up with a bunch of his friends, and I think it was playing like 80s, and I was like, oh no, I wonder if they're gonna dance. And then they all just like danced so hard, and I was like, oh, these kids like 80s music.
There's so many memories, but the one that's at top of my mind is being able to use Lisa Fa'alafi's leaf blower. That kind of went down in the history books of the coolest thing I've ever done, I think.
That first drag brunch, just the sheer chaos of having live children and live drag queens in the same room taking over the building was the perfect recipe for fabulous disasters. It was great. Like, I mean, what could go wrong? Food, glitter, toddlers. I would argue when we pivoted to digital, it kind of became even more chaotically wonderful because we still had all of those people, but all in their separate spaces, but united across a digital platform, watching kids in their own homes during a pandemic just dance their faces off while we did a live cooking demo in the Culture Lab and then zoomed in drag queens in their homes across the city. That was community building at its finest in a time when that was impossible.
I think that over the course of these 4 years that we've been producing this festival, there have been so many new relationships that have formed, collaborations, long-term artistic collaborations that have happened. And we're so proud of the work that we've done with Urban Inc. and the Culture to bring this to life.
Indigenous artists were given the space and resources to create in ways that worked for their nations, which is actually what Indigenous artists need to flourish. The team at the Culture and Urban Inc. really supported this notion of Indigenous sovereignty and artistic expression in ways that other institutions just have not been able to accomplish.
I think Transform has beyond met the brief. It has changed the landscape for Indigenous collaboration, for the notion of digital storytelling and dissemination, and it's just been fucking badass.
What do I want to see the future of Indigenous performance? More of it. More Transform Cabaret Festival, more artists getting out there, more artists building their platform, more artists being known. Yeah, just more. All of it.
We need more of this. People are asking, when is Transform happening again? I don't know. When is it happening again?
So what is next for the Transform Cabaret Festival? Well, we don't know at this point. Right now, we are trying to raise the funds that we'll need to be able to do the festival live again in the fall of 2024. One thing we do know, though, is that in the fall of 2023, there will be a special presentation, and we'll be telling you about that later this season.
So my word to describe Transform Festival would be First Nations fierceness.
Necessary. It's necessary.
Life-changing.
Fun. Eclectic.
I wish I was still going.
Real deadly.
The Transform Cabaret Festival Remix will be available to you for 2 full months. It features 10 fantastic productions and is available on the Transform Cabaret website.
My word is Shakwalawan. And that means to do things in a good way or to have good feelings about something. And that's the word that I would use to describe the festival.